Looking at the Markets with David Moadel. Welcome to Looking at the Markets. Today I'm joined by Mr. Kenny Glick. He is a well-known YouTuber, trader, investor extraordinaire, and I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. Thank you, Mr. Glick, for joining me today, sir.
Thank you for having me. This should be fun. I've been looking at your tweet. You love to tweet, my friend. You love to tweet.
I do. I guess I'm an addict. But hey, you love to YouTube, and so do I. What I love about your YouTube videos, you've got many of them. You've been doing them for a long time. And they're entertaining in addition to being insightful and informative. I get the impression that you're not afraid to do whatever it takes to get people's attention so you can bring the information to the people. Would that be an accurate statement?
Yeah. I've always. I came from the world of entertainment. I never reckoned myself to be a Wall Streeter. I was a television and radio major. I was learning how to do production and TV commercials, and with a side of acting and stand-up comedy. So what happened was I was doing stand-up comedy, and this is, we're talking about 1990 maybe. So we're talking a long time ago. And I was approached at the end of one of my shows. And I'm all excited because I thought this might be an agent or someone who's interested in my, comic attributes. But he said, you know what, you're a funny guy. Why don't you come down to our firm in Long Island and sell some stocks? They'll love you. And next thing you know, all those movies you saw about Boiler Room and, Wolf of Wall Street, I was right in there in the midst of all that nonsense trying to figure myself out, what I was doing there. And and that's where my career kind of began, kind of as like a mistake, as a matter of fact.
Well, it's a very fortunate mistake for all of your viewers and admirers.
Thanks.
I think a lot of people first took notice of you. You were, is this true, in the late 1990s in a CBS documentary about day traders? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. It came out of a sad event. There was a trader that apparently lost some money, and he went in guns blazing, taking out some people. And next thing you know, there were camera crews in pretty much every day trading firm around the country looking for people to talk. The guys that owned my firm knew I was a ham, so they threw me in front of the camera. And I was on, Nightline, and then I was on the show, 48 Hours. And what they really did there was trying to make us look like a bunch of degenerate gamblers who are ready to, murder our families. And I had to defend Trader Nation to the point where, my claim to fame was I could probably tell you what a stock's going to do 20 or 30 minutes from now, opposed to where we're going to be a month or 2 months from now. And that's all we try to do. And if you want to make us seem like a bunch of degenerate gamblers, then I will, debate you till the end of time, because the stock market, by definition, is all gambling, no matter how educated and how smart you think you are.
I tend to agree with that. I wanted to talk about hitthebid.com. What a great website. There's so much content here. There's a chat room. I see you can sign up for a newsletter. Can you tell me about that?
Well, the website, I'll take it back a second. Really what it was is, we're a very lonely group, the traders we are. We're sitting here, as much as we want to be around people and have some camaraderie, it's a solitary, industry when it comes down to it. It's you and what you do. So I always wanted to have that, feeling of a trader's desk. But originally what it was I went from doing really well for myself to the point where I was the George Costanza of trading. I couldn't do anything right, one after another. I mean, every idea I had would just turn into be the worst thing I ever thought of. If I would buy a stock, it would go down. Sell it short, it would start ripping up. Then every time I would get out of a position, that's when the real move would happen. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe I should just launch a website where people come and do the complete opposite of what I do, and I'll just do it live. And, we'll have a lot of fun with it. At least I'll make some money being the miserable trader that I am right now. And I named it Suck My NASDAQ. And pretty angry. It was fun for a while, but the NASDAQ contacted me, said, you can't use our name, and I switched it to Hit the Bid, and miraculously, what I did, somewhere in that transition between George Costanza, I got back to myself, and went back to what was making me money, 1999, 2000, 2001. I just went back to, the same principles that were, working back then. And now I just surround myself with, volume weighted average price to guide me into all my trades. So I took what was working for me back in, the early time of my career, and now tweaked it a little bit with, using VWAP. And it's been pretty consistent. So, and now what I do on the website, I kind of do like a live show where people come in, they log in, they see my screen on their screen. I talk all day because, I like to talk. And I teach people what to look for. And really what it comes down to, and you know this better than anybody, to stay in this industry, it's really about not making the mistakes that every trader makes. Because there's more mistakes that you can make than things you could do right. You find a few things that work, you focus your attention on those, and try to avoid the hundreds of mistakes that you typically make. So I spend most of my day trying to refresh people's memory on what not to do and focus their attention on what works.
Which is so important. You've got to fight to live another day in this crazy world of trading. And I wanted to talk about some of your videos. I mean, they're so entertaining. They're so informative. I remember a video, I believe it's from 2011, am I right, where you predicted, not only did you predict Dow 20,000, but you even got really close to exactly when it would happen. Can you tell me about that?
Well, thanks for bringing it up. It's, something that... I was hoping to make it on CNBC, and at least Josh Brown gave me some accolades for that at one point. But I was a big shorter. 2000 was fantastic for me because I was a big shorter, and I didn't really, believe in what I was looking at. A lot of guys were getting rich on the way up, and I was just waiting in, patiently like a panther stalking. And then finally, when the can I say shit hits the fan on your show?
Sure, why not?
All right. When the shit hit the fan, that's when I was, I had a lot of fun on the way down. And what got me in trouble was that when the market started rallying after March of 2009, my instincts were, okay, we've had our fun. It's time to roll over and die again. And I got hammered. And this time, at least I didn't completely blow up. I said, you know what? I'm going to join the fun. And I just started kind of calculating that if the government has taken over the stock market, they're at least going to bring us back to 14,000. And if we get past 14,000, there's going to be a whole new crop of people, and you know how they love to buy stocks when they're going up, opposed to buying them when they go down. And I did a little calculations, and I just, put out some data, and I got 19,363 on January 20th of 2017. I even put a time in there at 1:40 in the afternoon. Because it looked like it was all setting up for a nice Obama rally right to the day he was leaving office. It was options expiration. It's the third Friday of the month. And I was like, you know what? We'll probably get around 19,000. And Dow 20,000 just sounded so much cooler. Yeah. And, we got right to it. Almost to the day. I was 5 days off. And, it was a pretty sick call. My dad held the whole time, which I'm very proud of him. We were, along the QQQ, which is our favorite stock, still our favorite stock till today. Wraps everybody. You get the top 100 stocks in the NASDAQ, and right now, how could you beat the top 100 stocks in the NASDAQ all wrapped up into one stock? It's gorgeous.
Yeah, very nice. I want to talk about what's the difference between the chat room and Glick Pics on hitthebid.com.
Well, Glick Pics was kind of an experiment. More for the swing trader, the guy that doesn't have the time to sit in a room and listen to my spiel every day from, I go strong from around 9:30 to about 12 o'clock, and then, I'll send some emails, make some phone calls, just chill out for a little bit.
Sure.
But Glick Pics was my experiment into the wonderful world of swing trading. And what I found is that it's a lot more difficult to just email people with a couple of ideas and with a stop loss and where we think the stock's going to be, because so many different things happen. Once you're in the overnight, once you're doing that swing trade, And we had a couple of, hiccups in there with some news that got in the way, some downgrades or whatnot. And I've kind of shelved it for now, because my claim to fame right now is this VWAP trading, these reversals, and they work really, really well during the day. But you have to be, on your toes. And, the real way to make money in this market still is this 2-hour window in the beginning of the day, where you're looking for stocks that are trending and then reversing trend, breaking through a VWAP, and then possibly rolling over and going short, or, taking a gap down stock, having that fade, break over the 1-minute VWAP, and then going green and following through on the upside. So what I tried to do with Glick Pics was, once we got that stock to violate a VWAP, I would send out an email and say, I like this stock. But quite often, the delay in people's actions was the problem, So right now I'm just trying to stick to come to the room, come hang out, learn a few things. And then, what I like the best about what I've been doing lately is that I've been instilling the rules into some guys, and, they take what they learn and they go find their own ideas. That's, now I know for a fact I'm doing the right thing. When I hear back from guys, sometimes somebody comes in, because I do a lifetime membership. So, some guys, they'll come in for 3 or 4 months, they'll learn some stuff, and then they disappear. And I get worried, oh my God, what happened? They're like, oh no, everything's fine. I'm just, just hanging back and, doing what you taught me, and, I'll be back. And, and that's why, this month-to-month thing, or, these subscription-based websites, I'm not a big fan. I believe
Right.
if you want to hang out with me and learn some stuff, let's just make it a one-time fee where you pay your, I don't know what tribute, I guess, to the master.
Right.
I got to wet my beak a little bit, so
Sure.
to speak. So, that's the way I've been running it, and it's been pretty good, because now I give a month free trial, and if you really truly dedicate a month, and again, you don't have to sit there every single day, but come in, hang out from 9:30 to 11:30, which is great for a lot of retirees and some guys that have jobs that start a little bit later in the day. Come in, see what goes on for those 2 hours, and if it fits your criteria in your life and you want to continue after a month and a half, then that's the only time I ever ask anybody for any money, because this is it started as kind of a more or less like a stock tutoring service, so to speak. Like my dad, you were a teacher, and he would teach his classes all day, and then he'd have a few kids at home, and a few kids would come to the house, and he would make some extra cash, and that's how I'm doing it right now. I look at it as a little tutoring service.
Absolutely. We're both educators, so I totally understand that. And it's benefiting so many people. I just wanted to ask about VWAP. What's so special about that? What's so powerful about VWAP for swing traders and day traders?
Well, for me, it started about 4 or 5 years ago. A buddy of mine, and you should talk to this kid, very smart kid, Zach Hurwitz. And not embarrassed to say somebody showed me something, but he was in our room. And I just did my own candlestick high-low pattern recognition. I would take a high and the lows from prior candlesticks over a given amount of time, and I would divide by how many candlesticks, and I would come up with some pretty decent exits and entries for my picks. And he told me, why not use VWAP? Because what you're doing is kind of what VWAP is. And I didn't really know too much about VWAP, so I just started plotting it on my chart, and lo and behold, the 1-minute VWAP. And our special sauce is something that he created called the multi-day VWAP. Easiest way to define it is it takes however many days your chart is showing, it'll give you the VWAP over that the aggregate amount of time. And it didn't make any sense to me to even look at that until it started to work. And I would see, oh, wow, we broke a 5-day VWAP. What's the 10-day VWAP? And next thing you know, you got a 5-day VWAP making its way to the 10-day. And then I started looking at 3-month VWAP, 6-month VWAP, 1 year, 2 year, and it all started working. So I don't know why it works, and you want to talk to somebody, he'll give you the whys. And again, one thing about trading that I've learned the hard way, I don't ask why. If it's working, fantastic. I can't believe it's working, and it continues to work. And if something continues to work, that's a trend, and the trend is your friend, and whatever the causality of the VWAP, right now, what my favorite chart is the 1-minute VWAP, and I take a look at what the stock's done over the last 2, 3, 4, and 5 days. And it has been a fantastic roadmap to day trading. And as far as swing trading, I start looking at the 3, 6, 1 year, and 2 years, and it's been a godsend. And especially what I'm finding is that when stocks are coming out of what I call the doldrums, or the exhaustion situation formation, the ESF for short, it's when like a stock like AMD just comes out of a 2-year malaise, or a stock like Restoration Hardware just now, or a Community Health, CYH, or Lumber Liquidators. You'll notice if you take a look at those charts, you'll see that they're all very similar, how they came out of these huge basing formations, which also met like a 1 year or 2 year VWAP, and next thing you know, you're looking at a 3 year VWAP, which wouldn't even, I mean, why would anybody look at that? But suddenly it all started working, so I'm just sticking with it. Like I said, if you find something that works, just keep using it until it stops.
Makes sense to me. I like it. Wanted to talk about trader failure. So many, I've heard 9 out of 10, 90% of retail traders fail at it. You actually have a very funny, great music video on your YouTube channel, No Crying in Trading. I love it. But yeah, why do so many traders fail? And as educators, how can we fix this?
I think the main reason most of them fail is that, you know, I tell people that if you trade these VWAP reversals, they work about 80% of the time. So if you have something in front of you that in your mind you're thinking, hey, this works 80% of the time, you forget that 20% of the time you're going to be wrong. So you have to take that loss. That's the problem. People get to the assumption that, well, if it works 80% of the time, why should I take the loss? I'll just wait for it to work. And they'll take a small loss and turn it into a tremendous loss where it didn't have to be, nor should have been that loss. So where I could take a day where I do 8 trades for losses, small losses, and then the one trade that works makes the whole day. And if you look at the percentages, I went 1 for 9, yet I made money today. The loser trader has 8 small losses and takes that one loss and wipes out the other 8 good trades. That's what I find to be the main reason people fail. And, you know, it all stems from that, not being able to take the loss. And you obviously, suddenly your day trade becomes a swing trade. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're an investor in a company you have no idea about. You're getting 10 Qs and 10 Ks. You're telling your friends about it. Hey, maybe you want to buy some of this stock. Yeah, I've owned it for the last 6 years. I think they make something. I don't know exactly what they do, but yeah, I own it at 20. You got to love it here at $5. And that's really what it comes down to. Nobody knows how to take the loss, whether it be the ego or just the monetary. When you're sitting there, who the hell wants to lose money? So you just hope and you pray that your stock comes back, and usually, you know, it ends up getting a lot worse.
Yeah. I know the feeling, and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, but it happens to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Here's a left field question for you. Let's see how you do with this one. Tell me about a time that you lost a trade due to ego.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I guess shorting the QQQ in, you know, somewhere in around June of 2012, where, you know, I thought I was right and nobody could tell me I was wrong. And it started going my way, and I'm skipping around the office one day. It was one of my largest positions still that I've had in the last, you know, decade. You know, I had about 800 in the money puts on the Qs. I had about 2,000 shares floating around there. So basically, you know, close to 100,000 QQQ short. And I am, you know, I'm so proud of myself because I called the turn. I had every setup that I was looking for. And then the market started going back up, and I just ignored it, where normally I'd be like, uh-oh, let me get out of this. Plus, I was up on the position at one point. And I just sat there and ignored every rule that I ever taught anybody else. Don't let your winner become a loser. Don't ignore the market. Keep your eye on the VIX. Don't let this thing get out of control. And what had happened was that, you know, JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, right after I had this monster short position, upgraded the entire planet. And again, my ego got in the way. I was like, JP Morgan, whatever. It'll be a half-hour event, we'll spike up and then we'll roll back over. And I just ignored everything, and I turned what was a nice profit into one of the most horrifying losses I've taken, probably still over the last 10 years. You know, it was like a 30 grand profit turning into got to be 120, maybe $150,000 loss in the matter of 36 hours. It was ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous. And none of that had to happen. You know, and I won't ever let that happen again. That was the last time I was a victim. And it also made me into the psychopathic bull that I am right now, because, you know, I hate using the terminology that this time is different, but this market seems a lot different than anything I've ever seen. And you're probably, you know, you're seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just dumbfounded by it. But the days of the bear market, I don't even know if that's ever going to come. It seems like all we do is we get these pauses, a momentary sell-off, and then it traps more people who believe that this is the start of a sell-off, and then it feeds on itself, crushes the shorts, breaks new highs, and then everybody starts piling in again, and it just keeps feeding on itself. It's kind of like a spiral, you know, you have the death spiral down, but now you've got this, you know, this spiral up, and it just keeps feeding on itself and feeding on itself. And I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to be able to predict when we actually have, you know, 10 or 20% move down.
Yeah, I was just going to make that my final question. What can we look forward to or not look forward to in 2017? I mean, I'm not asking you to be a top caller, of course not. That's not a winning game, I don't believe. Or to predict, you know, where's the Dow going to go, where the spider is going to go. But I mean, let me form the question this way. Would you recommend that your elderly grandparents invest their money into the market right now?
I'd have to say yes. I think we're going to 40,000. I think we're about to tack on another 8 to 12% a year over the next 6 years. So if you put that into some mathematical formulas, we're talking about Dow 37,000 to 39,000 within the next 6 years. And I know that might sound crazy, but guess what? Dow 20,000, when we were just breaking 11,000, sounded pretty absurd also. I don't see any reason for this market to go down, and it's not going to be interest rates. It's not going to be political unrest, because we got plenty of political unrest the last 100 days, it seems. Saber rattling. We've got SARS, Ebola. I don't know. Let's name some nations that we were afraid were going out of business. Greece. How about some Portugal, Spain, Puerto Rico? What's it going to take? I don't know. But you know what? That's the only thing that's going to derail this market. Some black swan event that nobody could predict. And my only way that I'm going to get out of this market is if we break a series of new lows, where, you know, the Dow Jones right now, for me, it's 20,300, where we just bounced off, and then under that I have 19,700. If we violate 20,300, and then I have some huge support at 19,700, if we go through there, maybe we have our first real, you know, moment of selling. But the real tip-off, my friend, is UVXY. The VIX. When this awful product actually goes into an uptrend that lasts more than 2 or 3 days and is up maybe 20 or 30, maybe 40%, that's when I'll be afraid. When these VIX products stop disintegrating at this alarming rate, that'll give me that, maybe the market wants to go down. But for now, my God, I truly believe, and again, I know it's hard to predict where we're going to be 5 or 6 years from now.
Sure.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, you've done it before.
Yeah. I just don't see any reason to get out of the market right now. And you might not want to just start investing and put all your money into it right at this moment. But, you know, if you're buying a little bit and you get a pullback and you buy a little bit more and do it cautiously, I really think we're going a lot higher. And we'll still be having the same discussion about all the reasons why we should be going down. And I could, you know, I'm one of them. I could give you 100 reasons why we should be selling off, but when I look at the market, I just have to admit I'm wrong. And I won't fight the market anymore. I learned my lesson.
It's all about learning lessons, and this has been really interesting, because lately I've interviewed so many people who are all about gold, silver, stacking, hoarding, and so I'm getting a totally different perspective here, and this is so fascinating to me. I know your time is valuable to you. Just wanted to ask you one more time about hitthebid.com and also how to contact you if people want to get in touch with you and learn more about your methods.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you, putting that on there. Well, it's really, you could contact me through the website, but the easiest thing to do is email me, and this is the greatest email address of all time, Kenny Glick at AOL.com. Laugh at me, chuckle. Yes, I still use AOL. I'm old. Kenny Glick at AOL.com. Send me your phone number. We'll talk. We'll chat. We'll get to know each other. I kind of keep my room now as like a family affair. Everybody in there, we're pretty friendly now. We all know each other, and I used to have it where anybody could come in. It was just an open door, and a lot of people would come in and just cause trouble. They would see a video on YouTube, and they would come in at 1:30 in the afternoon on Thursday. Yeah, where's your pics, tough guy? Yeah, your videos, you say you never lose. Where's your pics? Where's your pics? Sir, it doesn't really work like that. It's 1:30 on a, Thursday afternoon. I'm actually not even trading right now. What do you mean you're not trading? I thought you trade all day. You're a genius. So now we kind of just, we keep it a little low key, contact me. We'll have a conversation on the phone. We'll get to know what you want to do. And by the way, I will scare the living crap out of you if you want to become a trader, because I will tell you all the horrifying stories first, and then I'll tell you how to succeed, because it's really, it could be easy, but my God, it's a lot harder than people think. And it all comes down to that, that discipline and, sticking with what you know. But, give me a call. I don't know if I don't want to give my phone number on here, but you can. I guess 917-521-4827. Operator is standing by. That would be me, because it's basically a one-man show at this point. But yeah, Kenny Glick at AOL.com, or just give me a call, and we'll chat, and we'll see if that it really is about your mental fortitude if you're going to be successful at this.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to get to know people a little bit before they jump in and start trying to trade.
Absolutely. Once again, that's 917-521-4827. And yes, it's okay to use AOL. Nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kenny Glick. Hitthebid.com. Check it out right now. What are you waiting for? Mr. Glick, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
No, Dave, this is great, man. And thanks for having me on.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, sir.